Hi there, high level listeners. Welcome back to High Level Listening. This is our English language podcast where we help you sound more natural in English by having fun conversations in American and British English. I'm Kat from the US.
And I'm Mark from the UK. And today's episode is all about how we keep fit or how we try to stay active to look after ourselves and look after our health.
That's right. And more importantly, we're going to show you how to talk about exercise and working out in a natural way. More than just, I go to the gym, I walk, I jog, I cycle, I exercise. We'll show you lots of useful phrases to describe your favorite activities and how you like to stay healthy.
Yes, we will. And don't forget, like always, we've got bonus materials ready for you now about this episode in our Season 4 study pack. That includes transcripts of the episode, a picture dictionary, there's listening activities, there's a word list with more examples, and lots more. You can find that by clicking the link in the description below. Okay, so on to today's topic. Kat is going to read her story first in American English, then I'll read mine in British English. And today's question is, Kat, what's your favorite way to get some exercise?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gym person, but I do try to stay active. I love taking yoga classes a couple of times a week. It helps me stretch and clear my mind. I also enjoy going for walks, especially in the evenings when it's cooler. I'll throw in a podcast and just walk around the neighborhood. Oh, and sometimes I'll do a quick workout at home, just something simple like body weight exercises. I probably wouldn't stick with it if it wasn't fun, so I try to keep things interesting. Right? So I'll ask Mark the same thing. Mark, what's your favorite way to get some exercise?
Truth be told, I'm not really into super intense gym sessions, but I do enjoy getting outside for a quick bike ride. I can still work up a bit of a sweat in fresh air and get my heart rate up, especially after sitting at a desk all day. I've also started doing a few gentle stretches in the morning. Nothing fancy, just a bit of yoga type stuff to wake myself up and get my blood flowing. I've tried doing fitness classes before, but I much prefer being outside, going at my own pace. Okay, there you go. So you've heard my story and Kat's. Don't worry if you didn't catch everything the first time. We're about to go back to the start and go through them once again. And we're going to focus on vocabulary and phrases about doing exercise so you can use them in more natural English. So back to the beginning, Kat. How do you like to stay active?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gym person, but I do try to stay active. I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gym person. Somebody who is hardcore goes to the gym all the time, is even obsessed with the gym, loves going to the gym 2 or 3 times, even 3 or 4 times a week, and they are a hardcore gym person. I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gym person, but I do try to stay active. Now, we have a little extra word here. I do try to stay active. I just started the sentence with I wouldn't say. I wouldn't. Okay, so I would not say, I wouldn't say, but I do. So we're using the do to give more positive emphasis. I don't do this, but I do this, right? So that little extra word just gives it more positivity. And I try to stay active. If you are trying to stay active, you'll use your body whenever you can. Maybe instead of sitting on the couch, you'll go for a little walk. Maybe instead of taking the elevator, you'll take the stairs. Little things like that so you can try to stay active.
I like that. When I see an escalator going up, there's stairs next to it. I feel good about myself when I use the stairs and I walk past the people going up the escalator. That's me
Uh-huh.
trying to stay active. I feel
Trying to
like,
stay active.
yeah, right. I've done all my exercise for today. I don't need to do anything else.
Right. So, Mark, what about you? How do you try to stay active?
Truth be told, I'm not really into super intense gym sessions, but I do enjoy getting outside for a quick bike ride. Okay, so the first phrase, truth be told. Truth be told means to be honest. And especially if you're about to say something negative, about something you don't like. In English, we like to prepare the other person for a negative opinion. We also talked about this in our previous episode about things you don't like. You can say, to be honest, I don't really like it. Or, truth be told, I'm not really into super intense gym sessions. So, Kat mentioned a hardcore gym person is someone who works out a lot. They lift big weights. They're sweating. They're out of breath. And I'm the same as Kat. I'm not really into these super intense like you're always working. You never rest. You don't stop for an hour or an hour and a half. And this would be a gym sesh. One sesh
You
is
sound
short
like
for
such a young person. A gym sesh, another sesh.
yeah. Yeah, like, what did you do this morning? Oh, I went to the gym, quick gym sesh, then went to work. Sesh is kind of slang for session. If you go to the gym and you work out and use the machines, that is one gym session, gym sesh, 2 sessions, 2 seshes. So gym seshes. And I'm using kind of the slang phrase because you might read it online or you might hear it if someone's talking about going to the gym. A quick gym sesh or an intense gym sesh this morning. But I'm not really into super intense gym sessions. I do enjoy getting outside. I use the same structure as Kat. Again, when you say something contrasting or opposite, I don't like this, but I do enjoy getting outside for a quick bike ride. So we mentioned in the introduction that we'll say more than just I ride my bike. I like to ride my bike. Sounds like you only enjoy moving your feet like this. But I enjoy going for a bike ride. A bike ride includes more things. It's the fresh air, it's being outside. Maybe it's traveling through the woods or going down the street and seeing different things. And that's a much bigger experience than I like to ride my bike. I like going for a bike ride. That sounds like an activity where lots of other things happen to you, and it's more engaging and more fun and more enjoyable. It gives a clearer picture in my mind of all the other things that go on when you ride a bike. So yeah, I enjoy getting outside for a quick bike ride.
I think it also sounds more fun because I know a lot of my students will use the word cycle. I cycle. If you said to me, I cycle, I would think more professionally. And of course, you can use that if you do it more professionally, like you have a very expensive bike, it's very lightweight, you're very competitive. But if it's just for fun, yeah, go for a quick bike ride.
And yeah, it's not competitive. You're not racing anyone
No,
or
it's
wearing
just to
the
enjoy.
goggles and the spandex. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, back to your side, Kat. What kinds of exercise do you like?
Well, I love taking yoga classes a couple of times a week. It helps me stretch and clear my mind. So we can easily say, I love to take yoga classes. But I'm using, I love taking yoga classes. What's the difference? There really isn't much difference, but when we use taking classes, it sounds like more of an experience. Just like Mark said, I like riding my bike. I like going for a bike ride. I like taking yoga classes. It's about the whole experience. And how often do I take them? A couple of times a week. A couple of times a week. So the words are a couple of times a week. Okay, so we've got 6 words there. But I'm going to kind of run a couple of. So a couple of, a couple of, a couple of. We can also use a few, but we don't need to say a few of. We would simply say a few times a week. So it helps me stretch. Now, stretching is quite important. Stretching is softly pulling your muscles to get ready for that exercise. So you can stretch. That feels good, especially if you've been sleeping in one position, sitting in one position. You need to stretch your back. And it helps me stretch and clear my mind. You know, it's been a long day at work. I didn't sleep very well. I'm just going to go to my yoga class and just clear my mind, remove all the bad things. And once I've stretched and cleared my mind, I feel a little bit better, usually. All right, Mark. So tell me about going for your bike ride. What do you like about that?
I can still work up a bit of a sweat in fresh air and get my heart rate up a bit, especially after sitting at my desk all day. So, as I mentioned previously, I'm not into the intense gym sessions. An intense gym sesh would be like your heart is beating really fast, like feels like it's going to explode. Maybe you're pouring sweat and you're totally exhausted after your workout. But when I'm riding a bike, it's not so intense, but I can still work up a bit of a sweat. When you want to look after your health and be active, a lot of doctors and professionals recommend just doing some kind of gentle exercise that doesn't have to be super hardcore or intense. I guess use your body so you sweat is work up a bit of a sweat. If you're doing anything, if you're, working in the garden, you go, whew, I worked up a bit of a sweat. Like that surprised me, or that was quite physical. Or even if you're walking through an airport, some airports are so big, you walk like a kilometer, and then you're like, whew, I worked up a bit of a sweat going from this terminal to the next one. But all of that means that you are being active and you're using your body. And this doesn't sound like it's super exhausting. And another benefit is it gets my heart rate up. Again, any exercise is useful if your heart beats faster. How many times your heart beats is your heart rate. And if you get your heart rate up, then your heart is pumping more. And that's good for your body. That's being active. So I'm doing things that are just good for my body and are exercise. I can work up a bit of a sweat, get my heart rate up, especially after sitting at my desk all day. If you're sitting down all day, you're being quite sedentary and not active. And after you've been sitting at your desk all day, I feel like I should do something for my body. I should get up and work up a bit of a sweat or get my heart rate up just to keep myself in good shape. Okay, Kat, back to your side. You said you enjoyed the yoga classes. Do you enjoy the outdoors or do you prefer to stay inside and exercise?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot of my students say that they like to go out into nature. We don't really say that phrase exactly the same way. We like getting outside or enjoy the outdoors, right? So I enjoy the outdoors. So I also enjoy going for walks, especially in the evenings when it's cooler. So we had a phrase earlier, I walk. I like to walk. Great sentence, but remember, we kind of want to show an activity. If I go for a walk, sounds more like a stroll, sounds more like enjoying what's going on, getting some fresh air, getting outside, right? So yeah, I also enjoy going for walks. We can also go for a walk, go for a jog, go for a swim, go for a bike ride, go for a run. Those are all pretty common as well. So especially in the evenings when it's cooler. Yeah, I mean, if it's rainy out or if it's really hot, yes, I will work up a sweat, but only because it's hot outside, not because I'm actually moving. Right?
Yeah,
So
that doesn't sound so
especially
pleasant.
exactly, especially in the evenings when it's cooler. It's just much nicer, isn't it? Okay, so Mark, I can see that you like to work up a bit of sweat during your bike ride. Do you like to do anything else?
Yes, I've also started doing a few gentle stretches in the mornings. So I've also started doing a few gentle stretches in the mornings. So my exercise routine so far is not very serious or intense. And another example is gentle stretches. Kat's already mentioned stretches, but if you want to mention that I'm not trying to do the splits or, I don't know, hold my hands behind my back or anything, I'm not trying to do anything intense, just gentle stretches. You can also hear light stretches where I stretch my muscles a little bit, but again, I'm not trying to do anything super intense or serious. I just want to loosen up my body so I feel a little bit more energized and a little bit more active when I go about my day. So I wake up, get out of bed, and I've started doing a few gentle stretches in the mornings. That's all. Okay, so back to your side of the story, Kat. You said that you like going for walks when it's cooler. Where do you usually go for a walk?
I'll usually throw on a podcast and just walk around my neighborhood. So I'll throw on a podcast. Now, this is kind of an interesting verb because if you throw something on, this could be clothing, like I'll throw on a jacket. I'll throw on a podcast. If I throw on something, that means I turn some music on. Hey, throw on something. Just don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just put something on. Whatever. Press play. Whatever. So sometimes I'll throw on a podcast and just walk around the neighborhood. So when I walk, if I said walk the neighborhood, if I said I walk the neighborhood, this is kind of, it sounds like I'm walking every spot available.
Every single street.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not missing any space in my neighborhood. Okay. I'm walking the neighborhood, right? Sounds like I have a reason. Maybe I'm looking for something or I dropped my
drawing
keys.
A map.
Yeah, exactly. I'm mapping out the neighborhood. But if I say I'm walking around the neighborhood, it doesn't really sound like I have a specific place to be. So I'll just, I like this street, or, that's a nice tree over there, or, let's go to the park. We're just walking around. No real purpose, okay? So I'll throw on a podcast and just walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah, you see people when it's hot walking around the mall. They're just going in different directions, visiting shops. Yeah, they've got no specific path. They just walk around the mall because they have AC.
Yep. And we can use it with the other verbs as well. Jog around the park. Kids are running around the playground. We could also use I'm just biking around the neighborhood. So I'm just maybe going in circles, maybe choosing a few different streets, no real purpose, right? So we can use them for almost all of them, all the other exercises too. So you mentioned that you do some stretches. What kind of stretches do you do?
It's nothing fancy, just a bit of yoga type stuff to wake myself up and get my blood flowing. So yes, I'm not a yoga expert. Again, none of my exercise is very intense or serious, so nothing fancy. What kind of exercises do you do? Well, nothing fancy means I don't follow a very specialized program. It's quite simple or it's quite basic. And also, nothing fancy sounds like I don't know the name of the specific stretches. I know in yoga, especially, they have lots of different names for different positions, like the downward dog and things like that. I don't know those terms, so I just do the things that make me feel good or the things that I enjoy. So I just do a bit of yoga type stuff. This structure is useful, again, if you don't exercise really intensely and you don't know the names of specific workouts or movements. Maybe you do go to a gym and you use some of the equipment. What kind of exercise do you do? Oh, just like, gym type stuff or body weight type stuff, yoga type stuff. And again, I do the exercise because I want to wake myself up. I do exercise to wake myself up. I do something so I feel more awake and more alert. And I wake myself up and get my blood flowing. Another benefit of simple exercise is to make your heart rate increase and make blood move around your body. If you get your blood flowing, then your heart is working and blood is going into all the parts of your body. And that's helpful just to keep everything working, just to wake up your feet, your toes, and use muscles that maybe you haven't needed for a couple of hours because you've been asleep. So yeah, nothing fancy, just a bit of yoga type stuff to wake myself up and get my blood flowing. Okay, back to your side of the story, Kat. Do you like to exercise at home?
Yeah, sometimes I'll do a quick workout at home, just something simple like body weight exercises. Similar to Mark, I don't really know the names of everything. Maybe I learned it on TikTok or maybe I learned it on an Instagram reel and I've kind of forgotten the name of it. But sometimes I'll do a quick workout. Now, this is kind of interesting because I used it in the last sentence as well. I'll throw on a podcast, I'll do a quick workout. I'm actually talking about my routine, even though I'm saying I will. So I'm not sure exactly the reason why in English we do this, but it does sound like that because I have this routine, I know what I will do in the future. Even though, yeah, I probably will. Oh, what do you like to do for exercise? Oh, I'll do this or I'll do that. Sometimes I'll do a quick workout. We can do a quick workout or have a quick workout. And specifically, when you work out or you do a workout, I really think of specific exercises, not just walking around, not even just going out for a little walk or a jog or a bike ride for fun. This feels like, okay, I'm trying to exercise. Okay. I'm doing a workout. These are specific exercises and I am working out. Okay, so I'll do a quick workout at home, just something simple like body weight exercises. Just like Mark, I don't know the name of it, so something simple, nothing fancy, right? Nah, I don't buy any equipment. I don't have a lot of heavy weights, nothing fancy, just something simple like body weight exercises. When you use your body weight, think of push-ups or pull-ups or chin-ups and things like that. You are using your body as the heaviness, not extra weight like dumbbells or kettlebells or things like that or machines. You're just using your own body. So just something simple like body weight exercises.
Mm. I like what you said about just seeing a video online and being, oh, that looks cool, and then
Yeah,
just copying that.
I'm just going to try
'Cause, yeah, that's
that.
what I do. Oh, that looks
Yeah, I
difficult. Yeah,
mean,
let's do that.
I don't have money for a trainer and I don't want to pay to go to the gym monthly because I don't really like it. I'm not a hardcore gym person, so it would just be a waste of money. All right. So, what other exercise routines have you tried, Mark?
I've tried doing fitness classes before, but I much prefer being outside, going at my own pace. So I've tried doing fitness classes before. I have tried. That could be one time or multiple times in the past. I'm not giving a specific time, but just over the years or throughout my life, I have tried doing fitness classes. Fitness classes where there's a group of you in a studio, there's an instructor, and you often follow or copy the instructor. And I've tried doing fitness classes before, but I much prefer being outside. I've got two options, fitness class or being outside. I much prefer, so I like a lot more. I much prefer being outside. I much prefer going for bike rides. I much prefer walking around the neighborhood. So it's I much prefer doing something and going at my own pace. Pace means speed. Again, I'm not a hardcore gym person, like Kat said. A high pace would be working out a lot, cycling very quickly, or trying to break my record and breaking out in sweat. But going at my own pace sounds more gentle, more relaxed. If I'm quite tired, that's okay. I'll just go a bit more slowly. If I feel energized and I feel strong that day, okay, I can go a little bit quicker. But it just depends on me. I don't have to follow an instructor or a trainer or a program. I can just do the exercise that I feel with as much energy as I have that day. So I prefer exercising at my own pace. Okay, and last section of your story, Kat. What kind of things do you like about your routine?
Well, I probably wouldn't stick with it if it wasn't fun, so I just try to keep things interesting. I probably wouldn't stick with it. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking about. Um, If my routine were boring, I wouldn't stick with it. To stick with something is to continue to do something. You got to stick with it, means keep going, even if it's a little difficult, right? You got to stick with it. But if it wasn't fun, I probably wouldn't do it. I probably wouldn't stick with it, right? And I think that's the most important thing about exercise is just you keep going. You keep going nice and steady, right? Keep going, don't stop, right? So if I try to keep things interesting, going out for a bike ride, going out for a little walk, just trying to get some fresh air, doing some stretches, but not overdoing it, right? Just try to keep things interesting so we all can stick to it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Now that you've heard us talk about how we stay active, let's listen to the stories once more. I wouldn't really say I'm a hardcore gym person, but I do try to stay active. I love taking yoga classes a couple of times a week. It helps me stretch and clear my mind. I also enjoy going for walks, especially in the evenings when it's cooler. I'll throw on a podcast and just walk around the neighborhood. Oh, and sometimes I'll do a quick workout at home, just something simple like body weight exercises. Honestly, I probably wouldn't stick with it if it wasn't fun, so I try to keep things interesting.
Here's my story one more time. Truth be told, I'm not really into super intense gym sessions, but I do enjoy getting outside for a quick bike ride. I can still work up a bit of a sweat in fresh air and get my heart rate up a bit, especially after sitting at my desk all day. I've also started doing a few gentle stretches in the mornings. Nothing fancy, just a bit of yoga type stuff to wake myself up and get my blood flowing. I've tried doing fitness classes before, but I much prefer being outside, going at my own pace.
All right, now it's your turn. What is your favorite way to stay active? Write a comment and try to use some of the new phrases from today's episode. We love reading your comments and we reply to every single one.
Yes, we really do. And don't forget, you can get the bonus materials for this episode in our Season 4 study pack, or you can get the big bundle, which has 4 seasons of study packs, which is now nearly 70 episodes, 70 different transcripts, dictionaries, listening activities. All of that's available in the link in the description below.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll catch you next time with another episode here on High Level Listening.
Bye.